Hey everybody, and welcome back to Jack Tries to Help with our new special report, Noxious Weeds. You may have never heard of noxious weeds before, but if you care about your health, family, pets, or even just your wallet, you're really going to have to give this a listen. Noxious weeds are damaging, non-native plants that are overwhelming the natural and agricultural lands that we live on. These plants aggressively spread and occupy land at the expense of pasture productivity, natural ecosystems, recreation, and human and animal health. Noxious weeds are part of a much larger group of biological invaders, commonly known as invasive species. Each year, these plants cost King County millions of dollars in lost agriculture production, environmental degradation, and maintenance and repairs. Non-native invasive species threaten the state's economy every year to the tune of $1.3 billion annually, and across the U.S. cost an established $26.4 billion per year in agricultural economic losses. Invasive species are introduced through a wide variety of sources such as contaminated mud or dust on vehicles, imported garden plants, or even from individuals who dump their aquariums in the wrong place. Noxious weeds are found everywhere in King County, whether it be urban, rural, suburban, developed, underdeveloped, or farmland. Even forests, rivers, streams, and bays, approximately 420,000 acres of grassland and national forests in the Pacific Northwest are reported to have been degraded by invasive weeds. It's not even the serious stuff. These plants are coming for your fun too. Noxious weeds can significantly reduce the recreational value of public open space and aquatic areas by clogging waterways. This seriously disrupts both boating and swimming activities. In addition to harming the environment and economy, these plants can be seriously dangerous to humans. The giant hogweed, for example, is part of the Heracum family and spreads aggressively by seed distribution and quickly dominates ravines and stream banks. In addition, the giant hogweed possesses dangerous sap that, upon skin contact followed by exposure to sunlight, produces painful watery blisters, scars, and sometimes worse. If that's not bad enough, there's another noxious weed that can even be found in your garden. For example, the poison hemlock. Because of its attractive flowers, poison hemlock was brought into the United States from Europe as a garden plant. Poison hemlock is found in gardens, roadsides, on edges of cultivated fields, along creek beds and irrigation ditches, and even in waste areas. Poison hemlock grows throughout the United States. It is very toxic to sheep, cattle, swine, horses, and other domestic animals. They're poisoned by eating as little as half of a pound of the dried plant. Animals who typically consume it typically die from respiratory paralysis in 2 to 3 hours. It is also extremely poisonous to humans who mistake it for an edible plant in their garden, causing trembling, lack of coordination, dilation of the pupils, coma, and even death. For example, in 2015, the Washington Poison Center reported 10 people having eaten poison hemlock, with 1 death reported in 1999 and another one in 2010. Some of these noxious weeds may not be poisonous, while some are even delicious. For example, the Himalayan blackberry. These berries are so seedy that loving them seems like a special Northwest version of making lemons out of lemonade. The thing is, the lemon trees aren't trying to take over the world. The Himalayan blackberry's canes plant into the ground and spawn their own daughter canes just by touching the ground, while roots send out adventitious shoots, also known as suckers. Even after burning, if the roots aren't completely destroyed, the Himalayan blackberry will continue to overcome natural wildlife. The blackberry outcompetes native understory vegetation and prevents the establishment of desirable native shade-intolerant trees. This includes the Pacific madrone, the Douglas fir, that's your Christmas tree, and even the western white pine. Even from the thorns that are on the shoots of the blackberry itself, they can limit movement of large animals when following large, impenetrable thickets. Well, I'm not asking you to hate blackberries. It's part of the PNW culture. I might have a big truth bomb to drop on you. There's actually a native blackberry species local to this area that isn't ruining the biodiversity of the Pacific Northwest. The Pacific blackberry doesn't nightmarishly tangle and sprawl, it just gently trails on the ground. The berries are more delicate and tender, smaller and sweeter, but still tart. They taste like the bowling variety of the blackberry finally got schooled by the raspberry for an even better taste that doesn't cause native species to get demolished. While I can try to scare you into really caring about these plants, I'm not truly the expert. I just report it. I believe that the best way to really show you what's going on, what we're doing about it, and what we can all help in the future to take this problem down are the real experts at the King County Noxious Weeds Control Program. Let's go. Here we are downtown at the headquarters for the King County Noxious Weed Control Program. Armed with amazing tracking technology for invasive species, in addition to resources helping to get the community involved, I was able to meet somebody truly special in order to know more about noxious weeds.
I'm Stephen Burke. I'm the manager of the King County Noxious Weed Control Program.
As an everyday citizen, what do you think is the best way that we could be able to help the Noxious Weed Control Program combat these invasive species?
A number of things. That's really important that you bring that up. One is to become aware of what noxious weeds are, particularly in your local neighbourhood or environment, and work to control them on your own property and your neighbours' properties and in neighbouring parks and open spaces. We manage noxious weeds to mitigate those impacts, essentially. If you're in a natural area outside of your local environment, you can also report the existence of a noxious weed you encounter on our website, kingcounty.gov/weeds. There's a portal to report noxious weeds, and we also have an app you can download to remotely report the existence of noxious weeds.
Well, you heard it from the best, everybody. Now let's do something about it. This problem can be addressed by the government and passionate people alone. If we don't all join in, this can escalate into the future with no hope of stopping. Now that you know, there's still hope, and there are plenty of things you and your community can do to help. By reporting invasive species through the Washington Invasive Species app and volunteering with the King County Noxious Weed Control Board, many communities have been salvaged through re-education, revitalization of these ecosystems, in addition to controlling these noxious weeds to allow native biodiversity to thrive. Without you and your community's help, it's very possible that more wildlife and ecosystems will go from this to this, rather than coming together as a community to truly rebuild our environment. So please, I'm begging you, download the Washington State Invasive Species app, go to kingcounty.gov to see how you and your community can make a difference. Now that you know, it's all to you. I've been your host, Jack Hood, and thanks again for tuning in for Jack Tries to Help. We'll catch you in next week with more problems that are hitting our ecosystem and our world. We're going to see what we can do about it together, and I hope you have a good one.